Thank you. So excited to be with you today because I want to talk to you about the best ways to unchain your brain from the addictions that steal your life. Now, I've actually personally never had an addiction to drugs or alcohol. I've certainly been addicted to sugar. That was not very good for me. But I have loved many people who've had serious addiction problems. And when I first started to do my brain imaging work in 1991, I was the director of a dual diagnosis unit. So what that is, it's a psychiatric hospital unit that deals with people who have drug and alcohol problems. And as I started to do the imaging work, I became truly terrified about what drugs and alcohol did to the brain. So what you see on the screen, these are brain SPECT scans from my first drug and alcohol patients. And a healthy scan shows really beautiful, full, even, symmetrical activity. The drug scans look terrible. They look like Swiss cheese, moth-eaten brains, and it was frightening. So frightening, in fact, I brought these scans home to my 3 children and effectively induced anxiety disorders in all 3 of them about drug abuse. So I knew it could be very powerful in showing people their brains. So I always say the real reason not to use drugs is they damage your brain. And if they damage your brain, they then limit your ability to have the best life possible. So one of my goals for you today is to develop brain envy. I want you to have a better brain because, as you'll see, with a better brain comes a better life. So these are my own patients: cocaine, methamphetamines, alcohol, heroin. And then I found some of the medicines that I was taught to use with my own patients, like Xanax and Valium, Ativan. They did exactly the same thing. It's one of the reasons we'll talk about some of the natural ways to treat some of the disorders that put you at risk for substance abuse problems like depression and anxiety. When I did my psychiatric training at the Walter Reed Army Medical Center, Xanax first came out onto the market, and so I was taught to use a lot of it. And after looking at these scans, I stopped because I'm like, this is not really helping people. It's potentially damaging their brain. So we'll talk about ways to unchain your brain. One of the things that we do that's very different and unique than any other psychiatric or drug treatment facility in the world is a study called brain SPECT imaging. SPECT looks at blood flow and activity patterns. It looks at how the brain works. It's a safe procedure. It's reliable. It's reproducible. And here at the Amen Clinics, we have the world's largest database of brain scans related to behavior, now over 60,000. So when I talk to you about what I'm going to talk to you about, it's not based on 100 cases that we have seen. We've been doing this work actively, enthusiastically for 20 years.